Okay, so let's talk about Yellowjackets season 4, y'all. I still don't have internet. My microphone broke. Two things that just I did not expect to happen this week. I do need to get a new microphone and I need to get my internet fixed, but I feel like it's not going to get fixed till next week, so that's a bummer there. But we're going to talk about Yellowjackets season 4. Where the hell is going on? Where the hell? What the hell? I meant to say, where the hell is season 4 announcement and what the hell is going to happen in season 4, but I just mixed both words. I don't know, y'all. But let's get into it. It's been a long week, y'all. A long week. No internet, microphone broke, and I'm just going through it. But we are here to talk about Yellowjackets season 4. So let's get into it. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're trying to get to 40K. Can we get to 40K, y'all? That's the big goal for April. April is more than halfway almost done, I believe. So we should be getting close to have 40K. Let's get to it. But let's talk about Yellowjackets season 4. So let's start off with the adult timeline, which I think is the timeline that's going to need a lot of pushing and help now, because a lot of things just happened. Of course, we know Van is dead, which was just a huge shock to me. I was just like, no way in hell y'all just killed Van. Like, what? Van just got here. I feel like we barely got to know Van as an adult, and she's gone. But Lottie's gone. Lottie, I feel too, was just like, yeah, that was just out of nowhere, but here we are. Nonetheless, this is the show we have and the show we get. I don't know what's going on with the writer's room or whatever, but I'm still interested. I still want to see how the story ends. Let me know what you think about all of these decisions that have been made. But the adults are currently in a predicament, right? After we found out Melissa faked her death and she is indeed alive, now Melissa seems to be very into the wilderness, as she seemed not to be when Shauna confronted her, but now she is. And I think that what got to Melissa was Shauna's whole speech of, you know, the only way, Melissa, you're going to feel safe, you're going to feel okay, and not like you have to watch over your back is until you're the last one standing, which is what Shauna is implying as well for herself. So Ty and Misty are definitely going to have to watch out. But they already know this, because at the end of the episode for season 3, we saw Ty and Misty pretty much be like, yeah, Shauna's fucking crazy and she's gonna kill us if we don't get to her first, so we gotta get to her. But Walter's also listening in. Now, we know Walter and Misty's relationship has been rocky, but I feel like it's pretty much at its end now. I feel like Walter may feel that Misty's just using him and not really caring about him, and Walter looks like he can get a bit crazy as well, so I'm kind of worried for Misty with Walter as well. So could we see Ty, Misty teaming up? Could we see Shauna and Walter teaming up, and then Melissa is like a loose cannon out there that nobody knows what happened? I still can't believe Melissa killed Van, y'all. That was insane. One of the more shocking things that happened this season, and it just didn't feel warranted. So it's just even more shocking and just felt shocking for shock's sake. But you let me know what you think about that. We also have Callie and Jeff out of the picture. They're done with Shauna's craziness. They don't want anything to do with Shauna. So where do we see Shauna and where do we see Callie and Jeff going from here? So I feel like Jeff can never really leave Shauna. I feel like Jeff is in too deep. They've done things together. So I do see a sort of trying to bring it all together with the family. I think now that Callie is the one that we know killed Lottie, I think that raises even more questions of, can this family just function together and realize that they're all just messed up now? And I really love that about the show, that it really talks about trauma and trauma dumping and how the trauma sort of bleeds into the family when it's not treated. Shauna's whole ordeal that happened out in the wilderness never really got, I think, what it needed to get, right? It never was talked about. So it was just fed into her family, which is something that happens with a lot of families with trauma. It just continues to really destroy the family as itself. And we saw it with Callie and Jeff and Shauna this season, when Callie and Jeff finally decided, you know what? We're not going to let your mother bring us more down and destroy what we have left, which is hanging by a thin thread. So I'm curious how that relationship's going to go into season 4, but I'll talk more about that in my theories. These are just questions I want answered for season 4. So I need to know what's going to happen in the adult timeline. Are we going to get into a whole hunt, a whole like back and forth between Ty and Misty going up against Shauna, and potentially Walter being in there and Melissa showing up out of nowhere? Are we going to get any more survivors? That's a big question I have as well, because up until season 2, I thought that was it. And then season 3 said, whoopsie daisy, we have Melissa right here. Does Aquila show up? Does Jen survive? Like, what the hell's going on, right? I don't know, but it seems that maybe that's it for survivors. I just don't see them introducing another survivor, because I have a very strong feeling, this isn't confirmed or anything, that the next season could be potentially the last season. So I feel like they just have to make a big culmination into the next season. So that's why I still don't have my theory video out, because I'm waiting to hear if they're going to announce another season, and if that's the last season, then I potentially have theories how could it all end. But if it's not, I have potential theories of how that season could end and lead into the season 5 sort of like big like showdown of sorts. So stay tuned for that. Let's get into the teenage timeline real quick now. So of course, Teenage Timeline has been setting up even better than the adult timeline, a showdown in between Shauna and Nat. I think Shauna is such a great character, honestly. Like, I'm not rooting for Shauna or anything, but I think Sophie has really crafted this character of Shauna into such a brilliant like villain of sorts, and I think that the way that she's doing it is just impeccable, because there are Shauna supporters out there, so she can be seen as an anti-hero as well. And I think Sophie is just incredibly like talented at being able to deliver this character that has gone through a lot, and is like trying to reel it all in and have some sort of power over her life that she has never felt. She's always felt powerless, and like she is not at the like wheel of her own destiny, and now she has it in the wilderness, so she's not going to let it go. And I think the counterbalance with the other Sophie, who is playing Natalie, is just beautifully done. And I would love to see more of that going into the adult timeline, like a bit more of these characters being fleshed out and their trauma and all of that, which they did do in the previous seasons, but I feel like this season kind of lacked a little bit of that. But in the teenage timeline, they do it so brilliantly. So I'm curious to see what Shauna and Nat are going to eventually come like to terms with, because Natalie has to come back. As we know, Natalie went to go radio for help, and Shauna was pissed about the idea of Natalie out there doing God knows what without her approval or what not. She wants to be in charge of everybody and know what everybody's doing. So my question is, does Shauna find out that rescue has been radioed? How will she deal with that whole situation? What I think could potentially happen here is that we see a sort of divide between the girls. Clearly, Shauna and Lottie feel some type of way about the wilderness. Ty's kind of in the middle, but I think that Van, Misty, and Natalie have sort of just been like, you know what? We want to get the hell out of here. We saw them go through the whole radio thing and just eventually being able to fix it. And even though Natalie's pissed at Misty for the transponder and everything that she did, she still is like, you know what, you still helped to get the radio working. So that's that. So I see a clear divide going. The factions are forming in season 4, in my opinion. And we potentially see that leads into hunts or sort of attacks between one another. And that's how potentially the other victims get like taken out. And that's what I see going into this next season, is a divide into the wilderness where we have Team Nat and then Team Shauna, and then just a lot of bickering back and forth. And rescue does come. I feel rescue has to come, and they get brought back into this world that they've been absent of for a long time, and they have to sort of readjust. I think that would be a fantastic thing to really look into for the next season, is how do they readjust, and does it happen quickly, or like we've seen with the adult timeline, it probably never happens. So how do they fake it, right? So I'm very curious to see if that's something we see in season 4. Also, Lottie is very much so in tune with the wilderness, and I'm curious how her life is after this and everything that led up until the adult timeline as well. But the number one question we still don't have answers to, y'all: what the hell happened with the cabin? Do we finally know if the cabin got burned down by one of the girls? Was it Coach? Was it an accident? What the hell happened? So I think that's something we do definitely need answered in season 4. Could that potentially be hidden in the episode that hasn't aired that was supposed to come out after season 2 into season 3? Who knows? But season 4 still hasn't been announced. These are just questions and some thoughts I have about the finale and what season 4 could look like. So let me know what yours are in the comments down below. I do have a theory video I'm working on right now. It's just with my mic down, with my internet down. It's been kind of hard to record and edit. I'm using the Rode mics right now, but I have to do like a whole process of sending it to my email and then download. It's just a lot of things, but I am trying to get a video out a day. So probably tomorrow we'll have the theory video for season 4 and what potentially could happen. And these are just questions I have for season 4 and my observations of the finale. Let me know yours in the comments down below. But as always, I'll see all of you next time. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. Hopefully we get an announcement pretty soon for season 4. I'll be sure to let y'all know here. So make sure you hit that notification bell, and I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.